Well, hello, this is Miss Becky, and in this video, I'm going to go over the unit circle, specifically in terms of degrees and radians. So hopefully this should be a pretty quick video. The first thing that I wanted to explain was what they mean by unit circle, and they call it that really because the radius um, here to here is a measure of one. So each radii on here from the origin out to each point here is a measure of one. Um, Again, to review that the unit circle is broken up into four quadrants meaning four, and in each quadrant there are 90 degrees. So right here where x is 0, if you're going over on the circle over 90 degrees, you come to the y-axis. And again, that's 90 degrees. Then we have over this next quadrant, quadrant 2, is another 90 degrees. So over on the circle, that takes us to 180 degrees. And I'm sure this is a review for you guys. You go another 90 degrees over here where y is -1, and that takes us over to 270 degrees. Then your fourth quadrant over here brings you back to the beginning, which in the beginning it was 0 degrees, but we've made a complete circle, so that brings us to 360 degrees. The coordinates that you'll see here, like for this point right here, that's where x is 1, but y is 0. The coordinates up here for, let's see, at 90 degrees, that's where x is 0, y is 1. Over here, we have x is -1, y is 0, and down here at 270 degrees, x is 0, y is -1. Now, um, this particular circle that I've chosen here is divided into, well, each 180 degrees is divided into fourths. The whole circle then is divided into eighths. So each angle here then is 45 degrees. So from here to here, we've got 45 degrees, another 45 degrees takes us up to 90 degrees. Now, what we're going to be doing is not referring to these as degrees, but as radians. And if you'll remember, a radian is a measure of the radius, the length of the radius. If it was laid across on the circumference, that's 1 radian. And it's a more precise way to measure. Now, if you go halfway around the circle to 180 degrees, that's called pi as radians. So 1 pi is half of a circle, or 180 degrees. So 180 degrees equals pi. All right, now if we go, we'll go to 90 degrees. So 90 degrees, to make sense then, would be half of a pi, right? So that's half of a pi, or we can call it, well, wait a minute, hang on, make that better, half of a pi. Now, if you'll notice, the pi's in the numerator along with the 1, and we don't ever, I mean, it's not written like that, so we'll just get rid of the 1 and we'll write it like this. So this represents half pi. Okay, then if we go over here to 45 degrees, that is 1/4 of a pi, because here's half, here's 1/4 of pi, again being 180 degrees. So we're not talking about that part yet. So 45 degrees equals 1/4 of a pi. Again, we don't want to write it with that 1 up there, so we're going to write it like this. This means 1/4 pi. Hang on a sec, guys. All right, I'll grab red here. So if we go past 90 degrees and we go over another fourth, that's going to be adding another 45 degrees to that 90 degrees, which is going to give us 135 degrees. That looks terrible. Oops, 135 degrees. All right, so 135 degrees equals how many fourths? Well, this is 1/4, 2/4, which is actually, that was 2/4 of pi, which is 1/2 pi. We have 2/4. Here we have 3/4 of a pi, right? Yep, and there's nothing to reduce there. So when you're working with these fractions, we do want them in simplest terms. Then we get over to 180 degrees, which we already said is 1 whole pi. Okay, so as we move along, we if we add another fourth here, so that was actually 4/4, which 4/4 pi, which again is 1 pi. But as we keep moving along, we're going to add another 45 degrees, which is going to bring us to 225 degrees. All right, so 225 degrees equals, this was 4/4, so now we're up to 5/4 of pi. And this is an improper fraction, so we're going to leave it as that. It's simplified. Go down to 270 degrees, and that's 6/4 of a pi. We can reduce that one. And so that's going to reduce down to 3/2 pi. And if you think about it, this this whole 180 degrees is 1 whole pi. And then if you're going down another 90 degrees, that's 1 and then a half of another pi, which we're writing as 3.5. Then let's see, we'll move over here. Oh wait, we'll be going from here another 45 degrees, which is going to be 315 degrees. Ah, sorry, my dog is moving. That's right here. This is 315 degrees. Let me label these. The 225, that was 5/4 pi. This one was 3/2 pi, or 1.5. 315. 315 degrees. We've moved on another fourth. This one was 6/4, so this one is 7/4 pi. Nothing to really reduce there. Let's fill this in. 7/4 pies. Then if we then continue on to the end, that takes us to 360 degrees, which gives us 8/4 of pi, which obviously equals 2 pi. So you come all the way around to 360 degrees, the whole circle around gives us 2 pi. Okay, make sure you have all that written down. Okie doke. So the next circle, unit circle, we've broken up into 30-degree angles. All right, so each 90 degrees has 30 degrees angles in it. So first, well, it's broken up into thirds. And then if we're talking about half of the circle, which again is pi, half the circle is pi, then it's broken up into sixths. So it's not easy to say without spitting on your screen. Anyway, Now again, we're wanting to refer to these as radians, and radians are in terms of pi. So the first degree there is 30 degrees, and we're going to call that one um, 1/6 of pi. But again, we don't write that one at the top. That's like so kindergarten. We're not gonna do that. All right, this one is pi over 6. All right, now we move on to 60 degrees. That's 2/6. Oh, that's gonna be fun to say the whole time. 2/6 of a pi, which is 1/3 of a pi, which I'm just going to write like that. The one is not there. Okay, so this one is pi over 3 because it's reduced down again. All right, 90 degrees. You could say 90 degrees equals 3/6 of a pi, or 1/2 of a pi, which again is pi over 2. That's a horrible pi right there. So it makes sense. This is half of the pi. So we'll call it pi over 2. Right, we continue on, adding another 30 degrees there gives us 120 degrees. All right, this one was 3/6. So now we're up to 4/6. I think I'm gonna stop saying sixths and just say it, get 4 of them. So that one reduces down to 2/3, right? So we'll mark that one here. It's 2/3 pi. Continuing on another 30 degrees brings us to 150 degrees. All right, so we're up to 5 of them, which is already reduced. So I will write it right here. Right, adding another 30 degrees takes us to 180, which we know is pi, but just to keep with our pattern here, that equals 6 of these, which we know 6 over 6 is the same thing as 1, so we have 1 whole pi there. Alrighty, we're adding another 30 degrees, takes us to 210 degrees. 210 degrees equals, this one was 6 of them, so here we have 7 of them. And that is reduced as an improper fraction, so we have 7 pi over 6. Continuing on, we're adding another 30 degrees, takes us to 240 degrees. This one was 7 of them, now we have 8 of them. Which will reduce down to 4/3. Okay, let's label this one as 4 pi over 3. You can just use some common sense that this is going to be 1 whole pi and then another half. That's going to reduce down to 1.5 pi, which we're going to use in improper fraction, but we're talking about sixths here. So that one, 270 degrees, that looks terrible. Can't let that stand. Sorry, guys. All right, 270 degrees was 9, oh, excuse me, 9/6. which reduces to, so he's lost my voice. I don't want to make any mistakes. Right? Free halves, duh. Which is the same thing as 1.5. All right. So as we're moving along, I'm going to put this line here. Going along, adding another 30 degrees is 300 degrees. Now we're up to 10 pi over 6, which reduces to 5 pi over 3. So this one is 5 pi over 3. Moving right along to 330 degrees. Right, this one was 10. This is 11 pi's over 6. And that is simplified. So we have 11 pi over 6. And coming fully around to the end, which is 360 degrees. That gives us 12 pi over 6, which is 2 pi, like we said with the previous circle. Oh, did I write it? No. 2 pi. 2 pi. All right. This is the worksheet that I have you to do with these notes. Here we've combined the 30 degrees and the 45-degree circles together. So we're going to put all of those together and fill out this unit circle with. So we've got the divisions of by 30 degrees and 45 degrees. And in the next video, I'm going to tell you why that's super important. So go ahead and pause the video here and fill that out. Well, hopefully you filled out your circle and this is the answer that you got. So you can check that out and hopefully that all makes sense. And this is Mrs. Becky signing off. Until next time, see you guys later.